Good morning and welcome to Small Business Matters, where we discuss everything small business. We talk about the entrepreneurs that make these organizations, these small businesses, grow and go. We're also going to talk about their entrepreneurial experience, get to know them a little bit personally as well. You might learn a few tips and tricks from them. And of course, we're going to talk about their products and services. So today, without further ado, we have the owner of a Kendall icon, a Kendall institution at this point, Mr. Tux, Joe Figueras. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Carlos.
How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Excellent. So, Mr. Tux, you mentioned Mr. Tux, and I think locally, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's almost like saying Coca-Cola. Your brand is very well known in this area. So, tell me a little bit first about yourself personally, and then how you got started at Mr. Tux.
Well, I'm 59 years old.
I didn't ask you your age. You didn't have to do that, but that's okay.
I've been married 35 years. I have five kids.
Wow.
And one of them is getting married next week.
So you have 4 daughters, right?
4 daughters.
I hope you have a big bank account.
Yes, yes. And the tuxedos are free.
There you go. All right, that's good.
I started back in the spring of '81. I was offered a job. I was a senior in high school, Miami Coral Park, for Rams. And I was offered a job for 6 weeks. And I'm on week 2100. I was told 6 weeks.
So that's
I'm a lifer.
You're a lifer. So when you started with Mr. Tux, it wasn't at its present location, correct?
It was on Bird Road.
Okay.
We were the go-to tuck shop for Southwest High School, Columbus, Coral Park, and Westchester.
Okay. I remember in college, no, a little bit before that maybe, I was taking a class in marketing, I think it was, and somebody from Mr. Tux came in and made a presentation, and the whole pitch was you will have a great fit, you will have a great experience, and I was very impressed by that. So, how many years have you been in the business now?
42.
42 years in the business, and as
well,
Mr.
no, 42.
Tell me about your journey, because I know obviously you started as an employee. Great story as an employee, and then I think you became a partner in the business, and then so tell me about that.
Well, my dad always taught me that when you get hired as a temp, work like if it's a permanent position. And after 6 weeks, my mentor Barry Krasny, really nice guy, a mensch. He offered, there was an opening, so he offered it to me. And I started at the company laundering shirts and cleaning shoes and driving a delivery truck. And anyway, finished high school, went to college, and eventually, after 7 years, Barry told me, "Hey, I can't pay you anymore, or the only way you're going to make more money, Joe, is if we open a store together." And we did. We opened in 1989. We opened our store in Kendall.
Okay.
We opened it together. And eventually he wanted to retire, so I bought him out.
Okay, so did the other store exist while you moved to Kendall? Or
yes.
Okay.
The other store stayed open until '94.
Okay. So what I find incredible is that you come off the turnpike going south on Kendall and 122nd, and you've got a billboard, Mr. Tux billboard, right there. And I say billboard, figuratively, because it's your store and your sign right there. So how did you choose that location? What
Wow, that's we were about to open in a different location, and our seamstress back then told us there's a spot open right next to JJ's Diner. For those of you that are from South Miami, that was a very iconic restaurant. So JJ's Diner in Kendall had a vacancy next to it, and that's how she goes, "Why don't you go by there? I think that's a good location." And it was, and it still is.
Okay, so is it safe to say that you've been there the longest of any tenant there?
I think so. We've been there. Yes, maybe there's another tenant. The Art Express has been there probably as long.
Okay.
So yeah, Art Express and us are the original tenants. This is going back to when Far More used to be there, and it was a movie theater.
Right.
So, and now, we had couples that got married with us in the early 90s. Those couples, their kids went to prom, and now those kids are getting married. So we're like on a third generational cycle in our community.
That's incredible. What's that feel like? That you've taken care of, you know, parents, kids,
Oh, it's
grandkids.
great when they tell us, "Oh, I got married in 1992, and my son went to Sunset High School, and now he's getting married." So it's great. We're looking forward to a fourth generational cycle and beyond.
All right. And you think you'll still be there? I mean, are you've got 5 kids. Are any of them interested in picking up this legacy and running with it?
Well, since you mentioned, I'm 59, as I said before, but in tuxedo years, I'm 98. No, I don't know. I like what I do. I'm empowering other people to do it, and hopefully, I was mentored by someone, and if it's not one of my kids, maybe someone can be mentored
Okay.
to move on.
So, you've been in this business a long time. You mentioned mentoring, and my son, Carlos, was an employee for some time, and he credits you with basically everything he's learned about customer service. So, what are some of the tips and tricks that you emphasize to your staff to deal with customers?
For example, we in the store, in the phone and above the front door, there's a question mark sign, because we do not answer the phone call. We question the phone call. And that's what I tell my staff.
How does that work?
You have to probe. When someone calls you XYC question, there's a why to the question. So you question the phone call. And then you give them the necessary information that they're looking for.
Okay.
So, and your son, when I remember at the wedding of your daughter, he lost the jacket. So I
that was payback is working
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, he goes, okay, make him work 10 hours, and that way the coat is paid for. And he spent 2 years with us, and he was a great young man. He was very personable. He did great. I tell people that, I give him guidance, but working with the public is a second university. You get to learn by working with the public.
Okay. So what are some of the lessons you've learned and maybe your staff has learned in working with the public? What are some of the things?
I mean, it's like someone comes in and you don't want to be an order taker. You want to guide them into what they're looking for. I mean, things have changed. People already come with their phone and images. I want this. They showed you, so they've done their homework. But it's a matter of making sure that you satisfy their needs and they don't go somewhere else. That they stay.
Okay.
And they stay. I mean, we are blessed to have someone come to our store. They have choices, but they select us or they give us a chance, and it's up to us to make that their final destination.
Okay, so it seems like, I've noticed that some big players recently, I'll say maybe 10 years ago, maybe it's been less, some national chains have come into the tuxedo rental business. I know, like, for example, I know somebody who rented their tuxedo from Nordstrom's.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff online. I know the ex-owner of Men's Warehouse has something going on. What makes you different? You've survived despite that. Obviously they've got a few more marketing dollars than you do, but how have you still thrived in that kind of environment? What are the advantages of going to Mr. Tux?
We have our inventory on site. We have expert fitting. We have expert product knowledge. When someone comes in, we tell what kind of an event are you going to? Is it a black tie event? And we even ask them, do you have the invitation? Nowadays everything is online, so they show us the invite. No, that says formal attire. That means it's a suit, which we also have suits. We have both tuxedos and suits for rent. And basically, having the inventory on site makes a big difference.
Okay, so if I went to one of these national chains, they don't have the inventory?
They don't. You have to select from a book. They size you up, and you get to see it on 3 days before the event. and hopefully you like it.
Okay.
So it's almost like do or die.
So that's really interesting. So and it's got to be a tough business because, if it's a wedding, hopefully anyway, it's a once in a lifetime event, right? And then, you want to fit nicely into your tux, I imagine. So, I mean, I can imagine some, and you can speak to this, some nightmare situations where do they get, what is it, the tux delivered to them, or how does that work?
The way there's a company,
not from you, from
there's
these
companies
big
that basically you go online, you make your selection, and then we call it surprise in a box because it looks great on their digital platform, but when what you see on your laptop or your phone is not what you get in a box, and then it doesn't fit. This particular company, for example, they decided to only help the regular size members. They don't help the big and tall, and they don't help the ring bearer, the little kids in the wedding. So if you're gonna help a wedding, you need to attend every member of the wedding party. Basically.
Interesting. So,
and
go ahead.
A lot of people select stores like that because my uncle Bob is in New York and my cousin John is in California. We do have what's called nationwidefittings.com, where they can go and get size in their hometown, and then there's a tuxedo waiting for them in Miami that's going to fit perfect. And if not, we have the inventory and the tailor on site with hundreds of shirts and pants and shoes. Everything is there to make the fit correct. And so we were able to have that nationwide footprint, but still guarantee a perfect fit.
Okay. So do people know this, or is it kind of something that you're still trying to get the word out on?
We're trying to let people know that you don't need to go to the national, you can use a local store like us because of nationwidefittings.com.
Okay. So you just mentioned that you have an in-house tailor. So scenario, I come in and, I come and try on my tux. Does everybody try on their tux the day of or not?
Well, we give it to them, 2-3 days before the event.
Okay.
They do what we call the final try on, adjustment, and pickup.
Okay.
And we call it adjustment because in case there's any necessary adjustment, we have a tailor on site.
Okay. So I come in, doesn't fit properly for whatever reason.
We make it right.
You make it right.
Whether it's we have to give you a different pair of pants, a different shirt, we have to lengthen the sleeves on the jacket, whatever. We have the inventory and the personnel and the team members to make it right.
Okay, so what's type of tuxedos are hot in the market right now? What do you see people asking for?
Everything has gone slim fit and ultra slim fit and performance fit and 2- and 4-way stretch. So we have the latest styles, fabrics, and fits, and designers, Michael Kors. We have our own private label. It's called J. Sebastian. It has or J. Sebastian in Spanish, and it's got the fit and the performance without the price tag. It's a private label, but it has the same features as the designer label.
So if I wanted to rent a tux from Mr. Tux, what's the starting pricing point?
We start at $139 and up, depending on the style.
And what does that include?
That's everything. That's coat, pants, shirt, jewelry for the shirt, necktie, vest, cummerbund, suspenders, and then the shoes are, depending if you need shoes, they're $25 and up.
Okay. So do you recommend people let's say they don't have a pair of shoes. I mean, what kind of shoes should you wear with a tux?
It's a patent leather shoe. It's a tuxedo shoe. It's like shiny shoes, but they're like modern. They're very comfortable. And, most people do get the tuxedo shoes because why would you want a pair of tuxedo shoes if you don't have a tux? So, and then for the suit is a non-shiny, like a matte finish. So we have a collection, an array of shoe selections.
Okay. So I understand that there are several ways that you can be fitted. I've been on your website and seen some things, and you have a valet service.
Oh, yes.
You have a regular service if somebody walks in, and I mean, if somebody wants a tux in a box, you can do that too. according to your website. So tell me about the valet service. How does that work?
We basically, if you have, let's say you have a wedding in South Florida, and all your members are staying at the Biltmore Hotel. They don't want to come to a tuxedo shop. We have a beautiful store, modern, but you're at the Biltmore, you want to stay at the Biltmore, or you're at the Fontainebleau, you want to stay at Miami Beach. We get all those measurements by email, or they call them in, and then the store comes to you. We go to the hotel, make sure everything fits. One of our in-house experts, it's on site for an hour and a half, or longer. There is a fee that you pay for longer, but we are at the venue, at the hotel, making sure that everything fits. And when we go out a second time for to bring alterations and exchanges, and then we go out a third time to pick up from concierge or bell stand. So you never have to. You go from the airport to the hotel, and from the hotel back to the airport. You don't need to go to the store. The store comes to you.
Really interesting. And do you have to have a minimum number of people to
We'll
do
do
that?
it for one, or we'll do it for 10 people.
Okay.
We've had people that come to Miami for a conference, but there's a black tie event as part of that conference, and they don't have time to come to the store, so the store comes to them.
Okay.
It's called valet service.
So you have that shopping center. Maybe it used to be known as the Mr. Tux Shopping Center. Now Chick-fil-A is in there, and
Oh yes.
I can see the lines, and thankfully I think it doesn't interfere with you because they're masters at managing their queue. But you have something in common with them. You don't open on Sundays either.
We don't.
And but you have a unique feature for people, so they're not late in returning and they don't incur late fees. What is it that you do to accommodate those people?
We have a 24-hour drop box right next to the front door of the store. So people, they can return anytime. They don't have to wait for the store to be open. It's very convenient because people want to, when they're done with the tuxedo, they want to return it. They don't want to incur late fees. So it's very convenient. 24/7 drop box.
Does anybody else that you know of in South Florida have that?
I don't think so. It's a great convenience. A lot of times after a wedding, the immediate members of the family have a brunch on Sunday. Let's say after the wedding, if the wedding took place on Saturday, and they don't enjoy the brunch because you don't have to return the tux until Monday by noon, or it's next day by noon. But it's the fact that we have that 24/7. That person that was responsible for returning, they can enjoy their family event because of the 24/7.
Okay. So you've been in the business a long time, and I want to ask you this question. I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you and how you surpassed this huge obstacle, which was the pandemic. The pandemic comes, and not only did you by law have to close your store, but I'm sure events got canceled left and right. How did you get over that hump? How did you survive something that basically shut you down? Not many businesses can survive that type of thing. Some did, thankfully. But how did you navigate that crazy time?
I mean, we were because of the county mandate, we were closed for 2 months. But we would go to the store, and we renovated the whole store. We took the opportunity, like a lot of people, we thought it was going to be a two-week and flu,
right?
And it became a pandemic. But we renovated the whole store, and we had some events where people, unfortunately, there were like funerals that they needed tuxedos, formal funerals, and they needed suits. So we did help the community that way. But yeah, it was tough. We went from X to 0 in 2 months. So,
and how I mean, besides that's, I think it's brilliant you took that time to update your store.
mm-hmm.
What else kept you going? I mean, what gave you that light at the end of the tunnel? And did you ever make that business up? Because I know that I imagine anyway, that once things normalized, that the event schedule kind of went into hyperspeed, or did it not?
Oh, it did. We had probably our best once the pandemic came to an end, we had our busiest July, September, typically months that are slow, were very busy because all those events that were postponed basically bottlenecked. So yes, people wanted to get dressed and people wanted to get their life back to normal and get married and go to prom.
Yeah.
And all the basically fundraisers and galas got realized, Carlos, everything got canceled. Feast with the Bees, the Heart Association Gala, all those everything, all the black tie season came to an end. I mean, I feel bad for those high school kids, class of 2020. They didn't get a prom.
Yeah, that was very sad. You mentioned Feast with the Beast. I heard a rumor that somebody who was a regular here at community newspapers, a friend of community newspapers, Ron McGill,
sure.
that you actually outfit him for the
we
event.
Dress him up as Dracula for Feast with the Beast. Yeah, we have Ron. We still have your size. It's a tail jacket, extra long.
Yeah, he's not a short guy.
Very nice guy, simpático.
Yeah, simpático. So, it's interesting how retail businesses tend to have certain seasons that are pretty common. There's the holiday season, but as I understand it, your holiday season starts now.
Oh yeah,
which is prom season.
Yes.
Tell me about prom season. What happens during prom, and how you ramp up for that. And I imagine the styles are a little different prom versus a wedding.
Yeah. The prom it's 4 weeks out of the year that basically all the local high schools, the students go to prom, and it's formal and it's hectic. It's hectic, and the styles are a little bit, more modern, more like black tie.
What do you mean by that?
Like if you watch the Oscars, that type of formal wear, very unique. I mean, for example, you'll have a pink velvet jacket with black pants, and the pants are like what we call Eurofit, which is ankle length, no socks, just very hip, very
like yoga pants,
almost like yoga pants. But that's the look, and we bring all those styles and we have them in stock.
Okay, that's interesting. So, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen in a tux for prom or otherwise?
I mean, I once had a gentleman that wanted to get dressed in a military tux with medals. And I told, sir, you have to earn the medals. This is not a custom shop. I had a guy wanted a mariachi outfit. No, we don't do mariachis. Mr. Tux is like Chick-fil-A, since you mentioned.
Okay.
We rent tuxedos and suits. That's all we do.
You don't sell.
We don't sell. We rent tuxedos and suits, and we close on Sunday.
Okay.
We do it right. Those two categories of tuxedos and suits, we do it right. We decided to concentrate on one segment of the market, and we do it right.
You include the pickles or not?
No pickles.
Okay. So
only if you want a pickle.
Only if you want. You'll get them.
We'll put it in the pocket.
Okay, perfect. So, how do you train your employees? Because I understand you don't call them staff members. You call them tuxedo fitters.
Tux fitters, team members, and expert fitters.
Okay, what kind of training do your employees go through?
Oh, it's very thorough. We probably spent 6 weeks training people on how to properly fit someone before they go on the sales floor. Because you have, for example, the father of the bride that fought the South Florida traffic and weather to get to the store a month before the wedding to get size for his daughter's wedding. So 3 days before the wedding, when he goes there for his final try-on adjustment, it should be correct. Even though we can fix it,
right?
It should be correct.
I mean, operationally, it helps you out because the seamstress doesn't have to get the tailor, I should say, doesn't have to get involved.
Correct.
And they're
plus
in and
it's
out
the
the door.
experience. I came here 2 weeks ago to get size, and now nothing fits me. So we make it clear to them that even though we have everything on site to make it right last minute, you need to provide good measurements, because sometimes that tux is going to be picked up by somebody else and he's going to try it on at a hotel. So it needs to be right. The fact that we have merchandise, we do 1 hour rentals. People show up. This past Saturday, we had a gentleman that pretty much got dressed in the store to go to an event because He went to try on his tuxedo, and I don't know what happened, but there were no pants. Dry cleaners lost the pants, or maybe he went to an event and lost his pants. So
so this was his own tuxedo?
he had his own tuxedo,
Okay.
and he had an
Lost-
emergency.
lost his pants.
He lost his pants. He had a tux emergency, so we do rentals within the hour. I mean, we tell people, because guys will be guys, and they wait until the last minute.
Of course.
But
And
we
this
do-
is Miami?
This is Miami. We do same day rentals, but the sooner you come in, the better your selection.
Right. So that's amazing that you can rent a tuxedo that the same day as the event.
Within the hour. Yes.
I'll bet you saved a lot of marriages.
Yes.
I mean, I can imagine. I mean, it's got to happen. The husband or partner, whatever, forgets about the event, and the wife, girlfriend says, "Hey, remember we have that event tonight."
Talking about saving marriages, we tell people that we guaranteed over 50 years of marriage when you rent from us.
There you go.
And then the guy goes, "Hey man, that's buckle up. It's gonna be a long ride." And I go, "No, invite God to your marriage, and that's the guarantee.
There you go.
Invite God to your marriage, and you'll have a happy marriage."
Excellent. So talking about the business, you've got team members. I hear from a lot of small business owners that there's been a real challenge finding employees. So what's going on there? How do you go about finding employees now?
I mean, we go high school. We talk to activities directors. We have a network of people that in high school you have something called work experience, where the kids that are in that program get to leave early to go to a job. We Miami-Dade College, FIU, but it is a challenge, and it's getting better because the free money is coming to an end.
Okay.
So the stay at home and getting paid is coming to an end. So people want to work. People need to work.
Right.
And when at Mr. Tux, we make a lot of our staff members are students. So I tell people, the priority is God, family, and your school, your studies, and then Mr. Tux. I want to be like number 4. I don't want to be number 5 below, go fly a kite at the beach.
Okay.
I want to be number 4, but we understand that these are students and that schooling is their priority. So,
Okay.
Good job. Very flexible with students.
Okay. And I got to think that not having to work on Sunday is a big benefit.
Oh, yes.
Because that's unusual for retail.
It's a blessing. It helps us, like they say, sharpen the knife so you can be ready for the work week ahead. It makes us a better store.
Okay. So I know this is a little bit on the personal level. I know that your wife is an integral part of your business. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today because she's probably manning the store, right? But well, tell me a little bit about that, about working with your wife.
When we got married, she's an advertising executive, or she was an advertising executive, and she is the Mrs. behind she's Mrs. Tux, and she does the accounting and the payroll and the scheduling.
Will she go out and measure somebody too?
Yeah, she's an expert fitter.
Okay.
She knows the business, and she tells me when to shut up.
Yeah, I guess that's not so unusual anyway,
Right.
in any marriage.
But she's the brains of the organization.
Okay, all right. So, Joe, if what would you tell somebody right now? We're down to the last minute or so. Somebody that wants to or needs to really rent a tux. Why go to Mr. Tux?
Because we have the latest merchandise, latest fit, latest styles. We have them in stock. You get to touch, you get to try them on. Like my customers, they put on different outfits and then they look at themselves in the mirror and goes, "I'm feeling it. This is the look I want." So they're not selecting from a book or from a digital format, from a laptop. They're selecting from an iPad. They're selecting. They become the mannequin in front of the mirror. Maybe with their girlfriend or significant other telling them, "Put this on, take that off." That's the look.
Okay.
So it's very hands-on, and you get to see the product.
Okay. Joe, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carlos.
All right. We'll see you next time on Small Business Matters.